So I don't want to just keep on going and going because I could go on forever, about the good things that you have done and getting to know you and how awesome of a person you are. And and everybody knows Flacco Santana keep it real. I'm raw, uncut, and I don't BS. And when I say somebody is legit, somebody's authentic, somebody's sincere, this sister right here, sincere, honest, loving, caring. At the end of the day, she's a businesswoman. She got a lot of different things, that make up her. And I'm just, like I said, I could go on and on and on about her because she done made such an impression on me that, I have to let this be known. But if you could go ahead and introduce yourself to the platform, that'd be awesome.
Hi, my name is Maria George. I'm known to the streets as many things: the Queen, Bougie, Gangsta Boo. I'm originally from Robert Taylor's. I moved to the village during my teenage years. Um, my story starts at 16. I was charged with murder. I did 10 years in state prison. I came home when I was 26 years old. I went to school, got a job, um, tried to do the right thing, stay out the way, but somehow got caught back up in the system, ended up going to the feds. Was looking at a life sentence due to the fact that the status that they gave me, the street status that they labeled me with, the people that they was trying to say that I was associated with. In the process of me dealing with my indictment of the feds, I was shot. Me getting shot, I was paralyzed from the neck down. My Me getting shot was related to the federal case as well. So at the time that I guess the indictment stopped towards me because I was paralyzed from the neck down. It took me a year to learn how to walk again. I moved to Iowa thinking changed my life. I'm not in the way no more. I'm this, I'm that. And just out the blue, the feds came and arrested me. So I ended up going to the feds, was sentenced to 70 months in the feds. Um, it took me, I got locked up 2008. I didn't get my time till like 2011 because I kept fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting until I was on the case by myself.
Mm.
Um, I'm trying to see.
You just gave them so much. So let's go ahead and just dissect what you just gave the people.
Okay.
So you was born and raised in Robert Taylor's in the village, right?
Yeah. You say the Robert Taylor and the Village? I can't hear you.
Yeah.
Hold on, because they playing this Pac-Man behind me and I can't hear.
Okay.
Thank y'all. Now what you say? Now what was the question?
Okay. So the question is, where exactly again you say you was raised at?
I was born in the Robert Taylors. My mother is from 4947. My dad is from 5041. When I was born, like maybe when I was like 6 months, my grandfather took custody of me. So I was really born, like raised in 5041 until I moved to the village.
Okay. So you was transitioning from both spots. So how did that go? You being from the Taylors going into the village, was it hard for you to get used to the environment, or was people open to you, or what was your experiences? Because that's the south side where you from, the Taylors, and then you got the west side. So it's two different sides, two different things going on. So what was that experience?
So, like 1985, my uncle had moved to the village from the Robert Taylors. So I was going to the village already. I used to hang in the 16s. Like it's three buildings down there. I used to hang in the 16s. I knew everybody from the 16s. Everybody knew me from this, being from out south. Some of the people from the village, I went to dump bar with them, from me being out south and them coming from the village. But after I moved to the village, after my mother got killed, I moved to the village. That's when I began to know everybody inside the village. That's when I started going like the row houses, the fit scenes, the James Adams, the dog houses, the park. I just started moving outside the 16s.
Okay, so I heard you say your mom passed away, returned back to the essence. I'm sorry about that. Condolences. That's heavy for anybody to lose their mother. If you don't mind, you don't have to. But do you mind going into how your mom passed away at such a young age in your life?
Okay, so my mom, okay, when I was growing up, my mother's little sister, Dirty Red, where she rest in peace, and my dad's little sister, Darlene, Dee Dee, may she rest in peace. They used to watch me. So like my mom's sister watched me 1 week while my mother worked, and my dad's sister watched me 1 week. So my granddaddy got tired of them arguing over me and just took me from them. So my grandfather, my father raised me. My mother still stayed in 49, 47. She had her own apartment, and then she just went through with her little phase, and she ended up moving out. When she moved out, my mother was working at a club, and somebody had put some in my mother's drink. So my mother kind of like went through a phase, a mental phase. Well, 1 minute she was okay, as long as she was taking her medication, and then she went through a phase when she was like, walking around the projects, seeing other things, doing other things, embarrassing things. And one day she decided to go back to Atlanta to like, research her roots, find out what happened, find peace within herself, and she never returned back. Um, my grandfather had called me one day. I was outside, and he had me come over, and he told me that my mother had been killed. We went to Atlanta because that's where she was at. And when we went to the hospital to talk to my grandfather, like the things that he said, the answers that he said was more like he knew what happened to her. So it's three stories. One, she killed herself. Two, her boyfriend killed her and rolled her around a freezer and froze her body. But we know that's a lie because her body was decomposed too bad. And then the third thing is that my grandfather killed her. So, for years I
Mm,
didn't get no help for it. I didn't get no help for it. So I just lashed out in the streets. I looked for answers in the streets, and the answers was never there.
that's deep right there because that was going to be my next question. What type of effect did that have on you? Being a young girl, and every girl, need their mother, just like every son needs their father. I mean, they need mother and father. They need both of them, but it takes a woman to raise a woman. It takes a man to raise a man. So, I just, want to know how that affected you. And like you say, you were lashing out, get into the streets of things like that. How did it affect you to know the story that your grandfather, might have something to do with that because he's still moving you around. He the one who took you over to the village.
No, 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 no.
Oh,
So my grandfather that raised me is my
mhm.
dad's father,
Okay.
and my mom got her own father. So
Hmm.
no, this is my mom's father. Now my dad father is who raised me.
Okay. Got you.
So now how I end up leaving my grandfather, my dad had a situation. I still really don't know the whole story. I just know one day I came home from school and he was like, get all your stuff. And I was like, get all my stuff for what? And he was like, you don't stay here no more. So I thought like, I'm getting older, I'm a teenager. I'm not being rebellious to the fact that like it's disrespectful, but I might stay out a little longer than I was supposed to, or I might stay on the phone longer than I was supposed to, type stuff. And so I didn't think I had did nothing that bad that I had to move. And so when he moved me out here to Calumet City and put me in Thornwood, it was a difference, but it wasn't the difference that I was expecting, the difference that I wanted, or that I think I deserved. So
Mm.
let me get some tissue. So what I feel, so anyway, my when that happened, my I had ran away. I had ran away when I had got in trouble in school. So when I had ran away, I had went back to the Robert Taylors, and then my uncle came and got me after while I was in the Robert Taylors when I ran away. That's when I found out my mother died. Then when I
Mm.
came back, I went to the Robert Taylor's, and then my uncle came and got me and was like, "You don't have to stay here, stay here, stay here. You can come stay with me in the village." And so that's when I ended up moving to the village. I
Mm.
think that's the question you asked me. I got somewhat lost with the question.
Right. Well, that's a good understanding for the people to hear how you everything went for you when you went to the village. I know you said that it was certain areas that you kind of stayed in at first. Then you started venturing out. Uh, was they receptive to you? Finding out you from the Taylors. I mean, did they embrace you, or did you have to fight to fit in, or how did that work?
So it's funny you asked me that because like um the guys from the village from the 16s, they used to come to the Robert Taylors.
Mm.
And one time they had got jumped on over there, and I'm laughing because the person that I'm talking about is sitting behind me. But they got jumped on over there. So when I went back to the village, they little female friends call themselves jumping on me like I got them jumped on, but I didn't.
Mm.
So I that happened, and then when I moved over there, I got jumped on again. But this time it wasn't like they jumped on me to hurt me or something like that or whatever. But then after they jumped on me, they was like, "All right, new breed." I'm like, "What the fuck just happened?" And somebody else was like, "Oh, they just jumped you in. You a breed now." I'm damn. Oh, okay. So that's how
Mm.
that happened.
So that's officially how you became a new breed. They jumped you in, and after they jumped you before, now they jumping you again, and this time now you with the community. Now you one of them.
Yeah,
So how
yeah.
did you? So how did that? Okay, so people, especially people who not from Chicago, what um what organizations are in the Robert Taylors? Because do the Robert Taylors and the Village have the same organizations, or
No, so the building I came from is an MC building. Majority of the buildings surrounding that building is GD buildings. The buildings after that is like the BD buildings. It was just like a mixture, and then like depending on what building you was from or who you were, everybody got along, no matter what you was. It didn't matter if you was an MC. It didn't matter if you was a vice lord. It didn't matter if you was a BD or GD. Everybody had their little cliques where we know we basically gonna say, oh, they from 49. Oh, they from 45th. You know what I'm saying? We
mm-hmm.
weren't saying, oh, they BDs, they GDs. We didn't identify it like that in them terms at that time.
Okay.
And then like when I went to the village, it was predominantly breeds. It was a few GDs over there, but I got along with everybody. I got along with everybody once I started like venturing out and stuff like that. I never really had no beef with nobody. Like the only time I really had to fight was helping one of my friends, or I got paid to do it.
Mm. Okay, so when you went back to the Robert Taylors and you telling everybody, hey, I done moved to the Village. I'm a new breed now. I'm a black gangster now. Uh, Nobody had no pushback from that. They just accepted you and said, okay, you.
Nah, they accepted me because everybody loved me, and then like my uncle really was like, I'm not gonna say he was over them, but I'm gonna say he had more control of it. He had more influence because Benny was locked up at the time. Cornelius was probably down at the other buildings or whatever. So my uncle had more influence, and like it didn't matter. It didn't matter. You know what I'm saying? He was the MC. He still lived in the village, so didn't nobody like
Okay.
from around me, around me, the people that was
Mm-hmm.
around me, they didn't treat me different because I moved. It was just like the only thing. Every time I had to go to the store, like if I go to the store by myself, I will always have to fight 49th. You know what I'm saying? They always either try to jump on me. They might give me my 1-on-1. They might and they might not, or they're gonna jump on me, and then when they see me with my people, they running their way or whatever. It just was small shit like that.
Okay.
Um, and then I guess we didn't get to that first yet, but
Right, because now I'm finna get into, you know, you went from the village to Robert Taylor's, you was transitioning back, kicking it back, and everything. Everything was good for you. So how did you end up going to jail? If everything you were going to school, you were
cause
going to school, you
okay.
moved, yeah, like what transition, where you end up in jail?
So starting in '89. So in '89, they had a war in the village. I got shot. When a person came to visit me, and I was just basically like saying, "This not gonna happen to me again. Next time they shoot, I'm shooting back. I'm gonna be able to protect myself. I'm not finna be out here on the front line, just out here kicking it. And now I see I could sacrifice. I'm sacrificing my life. I could get shot. I can do anything. So now I got to make it beneficial for me. So me and my friends, we got together and I was like, man, it's time for us to eat. We gonna do something. We got to eat off this shit. So,
Mm,
we got our little work, started selling drugs. Um, I went back to the Robert Taylor's because I still had my connection over there. So I go over there, look out for my people, hey, look, this what I'm doing. Turn them on. So I'm going back and forth from the Robert Taylor's to the village, just making my little money and stuff like that. And when I go to the Robert Taylor's, I got the hat because I can't let my dad and them catch me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a different person. So I'm being this good girl that they know, but in the dark they keep hearing, who the fuck is this boo they keep talking about? Who is this boo they talking about? It been plenty times when my dad done walked up and I'll put my hood on and spent past him, so he don't know what I got going on.
mm, that's heavy.
Then, so this particular day, I went over there to kick with my girl Heidi like I usually do. I'm not gonna say these names. I'm gonna leave these names because I don't want to put nobody in
For
something
sure.
that they
For
don't need
sure.
to be in. But particular female that's supposed to be my friend, from 5041 that grew up with me, went to grammar school with me. She had moved to 4946. She had started having kids, had her own crib, whatever. And she had asked me to go to the Mark Clark party. And
Mm,
I'm like, oh, nah, I don't want to go. It's only one way in, it's only one way out, because now my mindset is thinking different. I'm hustling, I'm in the streets. I don't think like that little girl from 5041 no more. So I'm like, nah, I don't want to go. It's only one way in, one way out. So then I end up like, fuck it, I go. And I was strapped. You know what I'm saying? So I go to the party. Another one of my friends, may she rest in peace.
nice
She
to
had
see.
came up to me and asked me like, you got a gun on you? I'm like, yeah. She like, can I use it? Cause I'm finna get ready to walk on 55th. I gave it to her, thinking I'm aiding and assisting one of my sisters. And so when I leave out the party, I just hear motherfucker like 10, 9, 8. I don't know what the fuck they finna do, some cheers in the middle of the night and shit. So
Mm-hmm.
when they got the one, they just stole on me. You know what I'm saying? They jumped on me, hit me in my mouth with a bed, cut me in my face, all type of stuff. Damn, I think it was Mark and Pooh. I want to say Pooh, but I ain't for sure. They broke it up. It was blood everywhere, and I just kept telling Mark like, man, take me out west, take me out west. And like they could see the fire in me. They could see it was more than what it could have been. And they trying to talk me down, and I'm like, okay, all right, okay. So I come back when I came back late on that night. I went back to 5041. The next day, my sisters them came down there. They was like, man, I heard they jumped on you. Can you fight? I'm like, fuck you, man. Can I fight? You know I can fight. They like, no. Like, bad them jumping on you and hitting you with best and shit. Like, do you want to fight? I'm like, hell yeah. So I go back, what I'm saying, to the building. I fought Monique. I fought Venus. Uh, it was two other ones. I can't remember their name right now. And then when I tried to fight the other girl, she like, no, she wouldn't fight me, Then they turned around, they ended up pistol whipping my uncle that night. So when I came out that night, I'm like, they like, yeah, we should have killed this hook ass. I'm what? You know, y'all don't know this my man's. This my everything. You know what I'm saying? Y'all playing these type of games. Y'all niggas getting that bitch shit. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like I say, I'm not that little girl no more. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking different. So okay, all right, we can play these games. Asked again, can I get my 101? Motherfuckers didn't want to give my 101, kept threatening me. And then it happened. But I want to say this in the most honest way. I don't want to tell my story like I'm bragging about it. I'm boasting about it. Because if time can go back, I wouldn't done none of that shit. You know what I'm
That was
saying? I
that
wouldn't
was
have
my
done none of
question.
that shit. Nothing
Yeah.
I done that night was worth nothing I have accomplished. I done. I wish I can go back and take that shit back. I will. I
Mm.
will. 1,000 times I will. But I can't. So since I can't, I try to help other people that's in that situation. I try to give back as much as I can. I for 10 years I did hospital responders, first responders to gunshot victims, stab, beat, trauma. I don't walked in rooms with people with their brains blew out. Duck was my patient. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? It was my off day. They called me in on my off day for him. So I am paid my dues to society for what I done. Now I'm trying to help the youth so they don't go through what I've been through.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That yeah, no shape, form, and fashion. We going through her story, trying to minimize anything that happened to anybody or trying to belittle anybody. This is just a more of an educational value for the brothers and sisters out there. You know, to understand that she come from where they come from, and so she understand them, and she can help them transition the same way that she transitioned. Because I mean she did a 360-degree, turn, and y'all see her here now. In fact, she's an author. She's a author. She's a motivational speaker. You know what I'm saying? She's a lot of different things. So I want that to be understood. And we're gonna get into her book, going down the line. But I'm happy that she said that because that was gonna be my question. Do you regret what you did? Did you feel bad for, causing somebody else pain? You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's my question, even now. When did you realize that you made the mistake? Like, how long did it take you to be in jail to realize, hey, I made a mistake? Did it take a year, 2 years, the
I
whole
mean,
sentence, for what?
actually, before I went to jail, I realized it was a mistake. But it took me to go to therapy. Like,
Mm,
I at first I was like, let me say this. Everything that I endured in life, I didn't get no help for. Nobody felt the needs for me to hire help. Didn't nobody think I needed no help. So I'm a kid, just thinking on my own, gathering my thoughts on my own. I don't care how many times you got a lesson at home. I don't care how many times you read a book. I don't care how many times you did a assignment in class. When you're incarcerated, you're fighting for your life. None of that shit even adds up. It don't make sense. It don't make sense. All you looking at is time, 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 and you hearing them say, "Oh, I'm off in life. I'm off in the death penalty." Those words were said. Those
mm,
words were said, and I'm like, wait a minute. I was only defending myself, but I had to learn the law. Defending yourself means stand there and fight for yourself. That don't mean defend yourself and leave the scene of the crime.
mm,
So it's terminology. It's ways that you have to do it. Now, once I did start getting therapy, I started accepting and taking the accountability for the things that I done myself. In spite of how I was feeling or in spite of what happened to me, I still got to be accountable for my actions.
mm,
So, I want to say maybe 2 or 3 years into my bit, um, we didn't like people that came down there that did something to people, kids.
mm-hmm.
And, we'll fuck them up, do whatever. I'm guilty for flushing people's heads in the toilet stool, all type of stuff. And one day a girl told me, she said, you can do whatever you wanted to me every time you see me, but you ain't no better than me. And
Mm.
bitch, what you mean I ain't better than you? I ain't killed nobody, baby, and woo woo. She say, just because they wasn't an infant, don't mean they want somebody else, baby.
That's deep. That's deep.
And I had to like reflect on myself, like, damn, she right. So who am I to judge what she done? And then
Mm.
that's when I just started finding inner peace with myself.
That's real. So when I hear that, you didn't get no help, I think that people need to understand that mental health is real.
Yes.
Mental health is real, and there's a lot of brothers and sisters out there suffering from mental health, who haven't been diagnosed for it, who haven't went to no doctor, psychiatrist, who haven't got no help. So they lashed out, they doing all type of things in the streets, but they really need somebody just to, show them or get them some mental health. You know what I'm saying? Somebody to talk to, somebody to guide them, and so many different things. Some people need medicine, some people don't. At the end of the day, it's a big thing in our community with mental health. You know what I'm saying? So I take my hat off to you for acknowledging, what happened and looking deep within yourself and finding a way, to change the whole narrative, that was about you. Because, like you say, you're flushing people's head in the toilet. You're notorious for a lot of different things. That you go by a lot of different names, Queen, and so it's good that you're showing remorse. Especially in this interview because we don't want people to get offended. We're not trying to offend nobody at the end of the day. So
Right.
16 years old. You know, get in charge with your charges. What exactly did you get charged for or with?
I got at first I got charged with first degree murder. I went to trial, so they dropped it down to a simple murder. They gave me the minimum, which was 20 years. The max was 80. So
Mm,
they gave me the minimum. When I went, I went to school. I applied myself. But I'm not gonna lie, I gang banged the whole time.
right.
I did most of my time in the co-ed. So when I first started off, I started off in Logan. It's kind of like not a chief out here that was in there
Mm,
that I don't know, that I can't have a personal relationship with or like call for assistance, like especially when we doing this outreach work.
mm-hmm.
Because by me doing hospital respondents, like, when a victim happened in this area, I'm able to reach out to those in other areas and they will assist me. And it's because, too, I had a relationship from them, from being incarcerated with them.
That's heavy. So a lot of people might not know, especially people who haven't been to prison before. It was a point in time where the joints or the prisons was co-ed, like that. So y'all would get to mingle a little bit amongst each other, things like that. So when you say it's some people that you met in your walks up in the joints or things like that in that co-ed joint, do you mind naming some of the individuals that you had the pleasure of coming in contact with?
So Logan, um, Woody Lloyd, Jimmy
Mm,
Lee Oswald, Bo Deal, Omar the Gangster Songs from the Hornets,
mm.
Angelo, um, Hollywood from the Cabrini Greens, uh, Black Smooth, he was on the circuit. Um, oh man, I can't think of this one guy name. He was on the circuit too. He was a stone. I can't think of his name.
Wow.
But huh?
I know I just say wow because you named some legendary brothers. You just named
So then,
Angelo. Yeah.
Dixon, I was there when Hoover came.
Mm.
Um, Gov was there. Duffy was there. Well, Duffy and Gov is the same person. He was
Amen.
there. Cole Black was there. Kenyatta for the Maraca Stones. Dirty Mike. Minister Rico.
Wow. You've been around some
Uh,
real legendary brothers, right?
It's so many people.
It's so many.
Noon was down there.
4 noon. Yeah.
Yeah, it was so many
Wow.
people. It's so many people. And then I'm trying to think when I went back to Logan who I was there. I can't even think right now. But I met a lot. Met a
I
lot.
mean, though everybody you name is are legendary brothers.
Hmm.
Legendary brothers of that higher caliber.
Yeah.
Everybody. So did any of that? Being around them. Willie Lloyd, Angelo. Gov. What I'm saying? Like all these individuals. Did any of they knowledge, wisdom, or understanding rub off on you? Did you get anything from them? You said you was there when Larry Hoover came. Like, how did that have an effect on you being around these type of individuals?
Me, Hoover, King Troy, most of us used to be in the visiting Mr. Rico. We used to be in the visiting room like every day, every day. And
Mm,
then it had got to the point like sometimes some of Hoover guys would call me out, some of Mr. Rico guys, some of King Troy guys. Like I just be on the unit minding my business, and they're just like, "Oh, you got to visit," and I go up there, and they visiting room was made like Burger King, and they got the numbers on the back of the chairs. So I be slick. I go to the desk, be like, "So where my visit at? What table they at?" Cause I don't have the slightest idea who coming to visit me when they come visit me. But it was all out of love and all out of respect. It wasn't never nothing like, "Oh, can you do this for me and can you do that for me?" It was just like always somebody that seen me, liked in me, and they'll call me out, and we'll just kick it, take pictures. I always respected myself. I never did anything that would make them think like I would, take something back in for them or stuff like that. I never did anything to that nature. So it was like all up. And we used to be in the visiting room just like kicking it, like, talking. We'd be standing in the picture line. You can go to the shack, like if you got coupons and stuff like that. You go to the shack and order your stuff. They be standing there, you standing there talking to them. It was just all love down there. Then we went to school with them. So we
mm.
was in school with them, and then like when you go to commissary, you got to go in a section to walk past them, so you get to see everybody else. And then depending on what unit you on, you could sit in the window and talk to them all night long when they walk past. So
That's
I was able
real.
to like, get into it with everybody. We had like Black History shows together.
Mm.
Ghetto Boys came down there one time. Once Hoover was there, we had a lot of activities. We had a lot of outside activities.
So when Larry Hoover came, y'all had more activities and it was more open for y'all.
It was more open and it had more structure because when he got everybody had to get in line and move accordingly to how he wanted. Them braids, them shoestrings, everything had to be according to what he wanted, how he wanted. And it was like something that needed to be done to a certain extent because, when men get around women, they tend to do different things that they would do if they was behind a wall. So
Mm.
yeah, so when he got there, we had more activities. They actually had came down there to let us register to vote as well while he
That's
was there.
heavy. That's heavy.
Yeah.
So out of all the legendary brothers that you named, which one had the most impact on you out of everybody that you named? Because I'm saying I know all of them did. I know you pulled something from all of them, but out of all of them brothers you didn't name, who was the one that you was like, this brother that made an impact on me? The way he talked, the way he moved, the way he think. Just this brother's so sharp. Like, who was the one who had an impact on you, or did nobody have an impact on you like that? They all had an impact. How I, that's what I want to know.
I kind of like now one. Well, I'm gonna say like if I had to pick one person that got the most impact on me that had to have high power, I pick Hoover. And the reason why I pick him is because like society and the media, they portray this image of people like um I say it like this in a different way. Growing up, looking at the news and hearing the things that you hear, it would make you despise him. It would make you
Hmm.
dislike him. It would make you hate him But when you find yourself in the same situation as him and you walk in that yard with him, you realize he don't know half of the shit about that happened, supposed to happen. He couldn't have told you to do it. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So it kind of, once you take that off the table and you open your eyes, you know what I'm saying, open up a little bit and allow yourself to see him for him, I think he kind of like impressed me because it wasn't nothing that I had heard. It wasn't nothing that I read or nothing like that. This was just a human guy, you know, that had a common conversation. Uh, he stuttered a little bit, but
Mm.
you know, he spoke no loud tone, no disrespect, you know, and well mannered, well mannered.
Mm.
And everything that I seen him do while we was there, it was for the betterment of us all. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't, I'm down here, I'm finna show you I'm running this. No, everything he did, it was for everybody. So I would
Mm.
say in that situation, he would be the most one that impressed me the most.
That hey, that's real. So when you first get in there, you're 16 years old. Um, you've never been to prison before. So how did you get acclimated? How did you adjust? I mean, you coming through the door, was you scared? Was you nervous? You didn't,
No,
did you know what to do or who to talk to or what?
nah, so I first went to the ID home.
Mm.
And you know, you think about you being a juvenile, the cadets they gonna protect you, they gonna make sure you straight. It was kind of different for me. It was like one cadet, she just nitpicked with me every day. Oh, you think you tough, bitch? You ain't all that, and I'm huffing and puffing like, oh, wait till I get your ass. Just wait till I get your ass. But I only had to do 34 days in the ID home. So around like my I want to say probably like 25th, 26th, 27th day. I ain't had that many more days left to do. But the lady ended up going to a party in the village,
Mm.
and she so my friends was asking her, did she know me? And she, oh yeah, I don't like that bitch, she thinks she all that and this and that. And they was like, that girl will fuck you up for real, you know. And she won't do shit to me. So they got to telling her stories about me. So when she came to work the next day, Miss Boxdale, that's your name, when she came to work the next day, she just was like, had a whole different attitude. And I'm like, you know what happened? And she was like, well, do you know this person? And do you know this person? And I just sat there and laughed like, yeah, I know that person. I know why you acting different. So like that was my first incident because that lady was like really like nitpick with me and nitpick with me and nitpick me. And I didn't understand why. I didn't know if it was because of my charges. I don't know why. I still didn't know why. But I end up transferring to the ID home as an ATT, automatic transfer. So as soon as I turn 17, I automatically go to the county. Now, when I get to the county jail, when I first get on A2 in Division 3, my friend Bones that came to me and was like, hey, it's a few people in the back, talking about they finna whoop your ass when you get on the floor. And I'm
Mm.
like, who? And she told me the names. So I was like, okay, all right, I'm ready. And she was like, no, you know. I said, no, I'm ready because I already know she can't beat me. So we go sit at the table, whatever. So more people from the village, Big Rad, may she rest in peace. Uh, Tay Tay, damn, what is your damn name? It started with a K. I'm sorry, baby, I can't remember. KK, that's your name, KK. And your name, I can't, Corona, her first name. So she was up there, and they was like, man, we not finna let nobody do nothing to you. And I'm like, I'm fine. So anyway, they come to the table, and they like, man, can I holler at you? I'm like, yeah. They like, could you come in the bathroom? So I'm like, yeah. So I get up, I go in the bathroom first. I guess they didn't expect that. Like, wait a minute, this bitch walked in here first. But at the same time, you know, like when she came in there, I just stole on her. You know, I just kept on doing what I was doing. Before I knew it, I done pushed her head in the damn toilet. That's where I got the toilet stuff from. But anyway, they broke it up. The sergeants came and everything. So they had took me to the cadet center. And she was like, "Well, I'm gonna move you because this girl been here a year." And I was like, "Well, she got a, she got a body. I got a body. I'm not running for her. We gonna see each other regardless." And she was like, "You my type of B." And she put
Mm-hmm.
me back on the unit. And then I kind of found out she was like a traveler. She was a traveler from out west. Come to find out later. But she put me
Mm.
back on the unit. And after that, I ain't had no more problems when I was in the county. And then,
Okay. So what about when you went to the pen? When you went to prison? Did you have, I mean, was that the same thing? No problems? Everything was smooth for you?
I ain't like I had like little gang banging conversations here and there, but they was more like wordplay.
Mm-hmm.
I had a few fights in Dixon. Um, one I had a fight because I had she gonna kill me for saying this. But anyway, I love you. We had did a Black History show and she had wrote a poem for me. So I was reading a poem at the Black History show and I was stuttering, so that's a joke between me and you about the
Right.
reading stuff. So anyway, I couldn't do it. So I balled it up and threw it in the garbage, was like, fuck that, and just flew from my top. And stadiums gave me standing ovation 3 times. So we got back to the unit and she was like, man, you could have gave me props, who was clapping. And I was like, he's just another nigga clapping. But I wasn't saying it like, fuck him. I was really saying like, you talking about him, bitch, the whole auditorium was clapping. Why you only worried about that one person clapping? And man, that girl smacked the shit out of me. And when I say she smacked the shit out of me, she smacked the shit out of me. But I
Mm.
picked her ass up and body slammed her ass on that bed till I kill her. But that was that. That was that.
Yeah.
And then I had another fight with this other girl. I guess she called herself liking me funny. I don't know. But she used to like wash my clothes and stuff for me and iron them. So this particular day, she had like mixed all my clothes together. Back then we used to get our clothes from home, but you only get clothes like every 3 years, unless you got somebody you can send some clothes to, and they gonna act like they theirs, but they yours. And which I did that. And she tried to mix all my clothes together. And so one day I came in like, hey, what are you doing? Don't do that. And she was like, fuck you and the bitch who had you. And okay, today your lucky day. So I ended up whooping her ass, but then she bit me. So they reported it because I got bit.
Right.
Them the only little fights I had. I ain't had no other fights. Wasn't nobody really, messing with me like that.
I mean, so I know you say you was gang banging. Was at that moment was you already was considered queen, or you was getting on that
That
bougie,
happened in
or
'94. That happened in
okay,
'94.
okay, so
Uh, like
oh,
right before I went to Dixon. Right before I went to Dixon.
okay, so you like you say you didn't have a hard time in jail. You had a little fights because you were gang banging here and there. Uh, speaking of gang banging, you being a new breed, uh, what did new breed mean to you? Like what did it mean to you? What is being a new breed to you? How did what do it make you feel like? I'm not a new breed, and some people might not be new breeds out there. So
I
what
mean,
do
it my way of life. My way of life. You know what I mean? My everyday
hmm
structure. Everything that I do is structured towards that black and gray. I mean, I'm retired. You know what I'm
right?
saying? But
Yeah,
at the
definitely.
same time, I still live according to the way that I live.
So what did Don Booney Black what did he mean to you?
He was like a father to me.
So you actually knew him.
Yes, I knew him. Talked to him, been with him, kicked it with him,
Mm,
got pictures with him. They floating around here somewhere.
right, right.
So a lot of my pictures got lost up, when I went to the Fed. So a lot of them I don't still have. But yes, I have pictures with him, been around him.
So how would
Uh,
you how would you describe him for the people who the generations and the young people who gonna see this, who might be inspired by Booney, how would you express how what type of person was he? You know what I'm saying? What type of guy was he?
he was like to me, what me, I only could speak how he was to me.
That's
You
right.
know, and to me, he was like, you know, a strong person with structure. He taught me a lot personally. You know, he just was all about the betterment for me. You know what I'm saying? Like people used to like get mad and write him letters and be like, "Oh, she messing with a guy outside the family and stuff like that or whatever." And he be like, "Man, hey, she can do what the hell she want to do with her pussy. That's hers. You know, she don't
Mm,
have to do this. She don't have to do that." So he always supported me and what I believed in and what I wanted to do. And the main thing he always told me, no matter what I do, I always educate myself because they can never take that away from me.
that's deep
You
right
know.
there. I seen you in pictures with Godfather Jeepers. You know, can you elaborate on his character? Just give some.
So now
Yeah,
Jeepers,
yeah.
okay, I met Jeepers when I was younger. And Jeepers used to come around with his suit on, be suited and booted, and he always had a story to tell. And like my friends used to be like, you finna go sit over there with that old man. This actually in my book too. And he
Mm,
like, you finna go sit over with that old man. And I'm like, yes, because like when we first started talking, he didn't tell me who he was. He just act like he was just an old man walking around, whatever. And like he just was like giving me knowledge every day, giving me knowledge every day. And then like the fourth day, he went in his wallet and he pulled out this article. And in the article, it was saying how he helped other inmates get out, you know, turn their life sentences around, get off death row, stuff like that. I think it was like 100 and some inmates he had helped. And in the article, it was asking him like why he didn't help himself, and he said it wasn't his time. You know what I'm saying? He was sent back to help his people first, and when he get his peoples out, then he'll save himself. And
mm,
that's how like he taught me that. You know, I used to sit there for hours and hours and hours and hours with him. So the fact that every year on my birthday he would call me and sing me two songs. I don't know what the songs were saying, but he sung them the same songs every 2 years, even up until the day he died.
mm. Rest in peace to Jeepers, the
Yes,
Godfather.
rest in peace.
Yeah, that's real. So, uh, when you went through jail, you had a little couple little things go on. When you get out, what year did you get out of jail?
2000.
So in 2000, what was your mind state when you got out of jail? Was it changed? Was you like, hey, I'm on the same stuff? What was
No,
your mind state?
when I first came home from jail in 2000, my mind state was I'm going to school. I'm finna get me a job. Mainly all the old timers that was in touch with me, like communicating with me. They knew I was getting out like a year or two before them. So they was just like, man, when you go home, just chill, don't get off into nothing, wait till we come home. And, you know, our plans was always to do something positive and productive. Our plans
Hmm.
was to get a restaurant. Our plans was to get a funeral home. You know, to that nature, these was our plans. And when I came home in 2000, you know, I had wrote all my stuff out. I had wrote two books at the time, which is called Ultimate Truth, which is that's the name of my clothing line as well, because I stuck with it. But I had plans to do this. So when I had came home, I tried to go to school for cosmetology, and I couldn't. They denied me because I couldn't be around no chemicals, which
Mm.
I don't understand why, you know, that happened. So I ended up signing up for Kennedy King to get my bachelor's degree. So I started off going to Kennedy King in the daytime, going to Olive Harvey at night. Then I was working at the nursing home. They was only paying like $6.50 an hour. So I used to volunteer to come in on the night shift to do the floors because I knew how to do floors. So we clean the wheelchairs and do the floors. So that's how I got my extra money, which, you know, $6.50 an hour ain't nothing to nobody, you know, coming home from
Hmm.
jail.
Right. So after that, what happened? Because I know you say you got locked up again, right?
Right. So I waited. I went to school. I was in the process of getting my CADC license. I had got a job making like $20 an hour.
Mm.
And, you know, friends being friends. call and say, hey, I got something for you. You do this, you shouldn't have to look back. You should be right. Okay. So I went and listened to what they said. And as usual, they gave me some drugs. I took them. At first I broke them down and went all through the hood. Whoever I thought got high or sold it, broke them a little piece. Like, this what I got. This what got going on. And I did that. So I built up my clientele a little bit. And when I tried to go back and recop, the person was like, hey, you ain't even paid me for what you got from me at the beginning. And I'm like, I thought you gave that to me. You said you got something for me that's going to put me on and I ain't going to have to look back. But I ended up paying them back, what it was. And from that point on, I had made in my mind, if I'm going to do this shit, I'm going to do this shit the right way. And I'm going to take off doing this shit. And that's just how I went about it, and started building up my clientele. Started going here, going here, going here, going there.
So
Until,
you
huh?
okay? Because I will
And,
say you never thought about, because you just got out of prison, you just did a bid, you
So I've been out 3 years now when this
okay,
happened. When it started, I
okay,
had been out 3 years because I was off parole. I didn't do nothing
okay.
until I got off parole.
So so your mind state really didn't change, or it did change when you get out of prison. Like, when you got out of prison, you were saying, "Hey, I'm finna go the straight route," or you was saying, "I'm gonna wait till I'm off papers and then get back to hustling."
No, I was on my straight route. I'm only gonna be on my straight route. I'm working, going to school, and then like I say, it's always that one person that you feel like that's your friend, that's your buddy, there's somebody you've been doing things with for a long time, and they say, hey, I got something for you. I'm gonna hit you with this, and you shouldn't have to look back from that. You looking like, oh shit, I'm over here making $6.50 an hour. What you finna give me that I don't have to look back? And when I got it, it really wasn't a blessing. It was more like, here, I'm finna give you this so you can work for me type shit. And that just didn't sit right with me. So I just really, and I'm the type that if I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna put my all into it. So I just built up my own and just started doing what I was doing. And when I looked up, I was out west, I was in Kankakee, I was in Danville, I was in Rockford. I'm just everywhere doing me.
Everywhere. So okay, so you got you doing the hustling, you doing what you do, you're making good money. When did everything come down on you? When did it, like it crumble on you?
So go back to the beginning when I said I got jumped in. This is a person that was like my big brother, my guardian, my protector, everything besides my sex partner. You know what I'm saying? Just
Hmm.
eliminate that part off the table. That don't exist, right? And this was somebody that like taught me and everybody around me everything. This when they caught the case, we out here trying to beat up the witnesses, hide the witnesses, doing little shit like that. And I don't know, I can't. I well, just say later on down the line, I started hearing different things. But at this particular time, I don't know nothing. He come home. He called me on the phone. Hey, how you doing? Da da da. And I'm, hey, how you doing? And he was like, man, I want to bump heads with you. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, cool. So we bump heads, and when we bump heads, he basically telling me like, he's trying to get down, but people charging this much, this much, this much. And I'm saying to him, like, you just came home. You shouldn't be trying to jump down. These streets ain't what they is. You got to learn your way. I was out 3 years before I did anything, saying all that to that extent. But from the beginning of the conversation, he was already working for the feds.
Mm.
So any and everything that I said to him was a part of the indictment. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So he came as a informant. The
Mm.
beginning of the conversation, from the first call to the last call, he was an informant. Um, Remember when I had said I got shot in '89? I said a person picked me up, took me to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
This is him. You know what I'm saying? This is him. When I'm fighting my case, this is him telling me to pick 12.
That so you left off at that a guy that you was close with, an individual that you was close with, uh that embraced you, protect you, he was like a big brother, like a best friend, next thing you know, you found out that he was working with the people, you know what I'm saying? And that was at the time of point when you was in the streets.
Right.
So what happened then? So you found out he was working with the people. Then when did how long after that did you get locked up?
I found out September 2006 that he was an informant, and I kind of like let everybody know who I was around, whoever I had dealings with. I let them know like, man, I can't no longer like do anything because I'm hot. And they like, what you mean? I'm like, shit, I just seen dude, you know what I'm saying? And he was with them people, and I know what I done so far, you know what I'm saying? So I can't continue to do anything. I have to disassociate myself. And I kind of like play with my life doing that because, some people think like, oh, is she going to tell on me? Is she going to tell what happened? Can I trust her? It's all kind of thoughts going through a person's mind, to the fact that I'm thinking I'm just being real. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking I'm being loyal. I'm being real. I'm letting my people know like, damn, I'm hit. I can't do shit. You know what I'm saying? I got to get out the way. So I had kind of like stayed away from everybody the month of September, October, November. So one of my guys, he had asked me to come to his birthday party in December. And I was like, no, I think I just want to take you out to eat. I really don't want to be around nobody, not like that. So he was like, no, we miss you. They ain't the same. And I'm like, no, just go and kick with everybody. Just I can kick with you one-on-one because, like, what's going on. You know the truth. And you fuck with me to the fact I ain't finna get down on you, so you still fucking with me. You ain't trying to treat me different like other people was low key. They weren't like doing it in my face, but it later on down the line I seen what they was doing. But anyway, so I go to the party anyway, and I had my baby with me, and it's just something about the vibe. Even that morning when I was getting dressed, like I had pulled out some obituaries and I was reading them, and I don't know why I was reading them, but I had pulled out like a whole lot of obituaries. Um, and then when we got ready to go, at the time I was with my baby daddy, and he was like, "You gonna put your best on?" I was like, "Nah, the feds catch me with that motherfucker. That's 15 bad self." So he was like, you gonna take your strap with you? I was like, nah, that's 15 bad self too. So I was like, I'm just gonna call the little guys and let them know, like, hey, I'm in the hood. Come make sure I'm straight, because I don't have no problem with checking in when I'm going to somebody's neighborhood or whatever. So I did that, and I went over there, and it was okay, but I guess my own inner feeling, I didn't feel comfortable. So I ended up taking my baby to my auntie house, and I went back to the party. So now I'm kind of more open, more loose, kicking it, whatever. And so I ended up leaving. I ended up dropping one of my friends off at home, and when I pulled up at my house, I had seen the two guys outside, and I'm telling my baby daddy, I'm like, damn, it's two niggas outside, and he was like, I said they got hoods on, and he was like, it's cold outside. I'm like, no, but they got their heads down, and I know that's a security measure. If you ain't up to nothing, you gonna hold your head up, you gonna speak, whatever, because you let them motherfucker know you not owning nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And that what I didn't get that. I didn't get that. So he was like, wait a minute. So one person went around the car. When he went around the car, he shook his head no. So I was like, there go one right there. But when I turned back around, the other one snatched his hood off and shot. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I ended up getting shot. I was paralyzed from the neck down. I had to learn how to walk again and all that. So that happened like a year, and then I moved to Iowa for a year, and then the feds came and got me from there.
So I mean, so you got shot. When you got shot, what was going through your mind? Did you think you were finna die? Did you think like what was going through your mind at that moment?
So when I first got shot, I actually died, because when the bullet hit, it went in right here, and
Mm-hmm.
it went around. It broke my T1, the T1. So that's your vertebrae to your brain. So it broke that, and when it broke that, I slumped over. So when I slumped over, it cut off my airwaves.
Mm.
When my baby daddy came back and like pushed me back, he started pushing me and stuff. So I started back breathing. Called the ambulance. The ambulance came and got me, but my whole body was like wobble. Like I can't explain it. Like I didn't have control of my body. My legs, they was going straight down in the chair, but to me they was like going across from each other to that extent. And when I got to the hospital, they gave me 24 hours to live. They said I wasn't gonna
Mm.
make it. My body kept hyperventilating. It was going in shock. So my father, he's very spiritual. So he was like, man, you got to forgive. You got to let go. You got to forgive. But the deepest part of my forgiveness is like God told me if I wanted you, I could have came and got you. And he said what happened to me is the same thing that happened to my mother. And I would have been the same age, same month. But when they found my mother, she was in the back of her house. This happened in front of my house. I had one baby, like she had one baby. At the time, my baby was 3. I was older when it happened to her, but that's what I saw, and my mother was like, "Come on," but my grandfather was like, "No, your time is not up." My grandfather's a very stern person, and he stood there with no arms out, no smile, no nothing. Like, no, go back. This not your time. And in the process of that happening to me, my father came in there and was like, "You gonna make it?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? Who just told you that?" The doctor. And he was like, "No, God." And I was like, "I don't got time to be playing with you and God right now. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
can't feel nothing. I'm paralyzed from the neck down. I'm
Mm.
asking, like, why you just didn't let him kill me? If this was my time, let me go. Don't send me
Mm.
back like this." Um, but my father's spiritual conversation was so strong, and he was like, "You a fighter." And then he just started saying, "Come on, Boo G, come on, Boo G." And my dad do not call me no Boo G. He called me Boo or Maria. And he like, "I'm your biggest cheerleader. Come on, come on." And when my baby walked in there, just knowing that I couldn't pick him up no more, I was like, no, I can't do this. So I had to forgive in order to fight back.
Mm.
Um,
That's a lot of trauma. That's a lot of unaddressed trauma.
yeah, it is.
You know what I mean? That we never.
You want to talk?
Uh, well, I'm gonna say that that's a lot of unaddressed trauma. Uh, and that it's a hell of a thing when you grew up to be realer than the motherfuckers that raised you.
Mm.
Not,
Definitely.
and that's not just in the streets, but that's in the households. Because in the households we're taught, don't tell. There's a lot of things that go on in these households that are a part of our culture that is very destructive to us. And we end up growing up and we mimic it. So it then becomes a cultural norm. But that cultural norm ends up hurting us. And the information that we're getting from the people who are raising us are telling us, hey, I know you hurt, but don't talk about it because you're worried about the shame is going to be associated with it. My acronym for the word shame is self-hate affecting my existence. People
Mm.
are dealing with a lot of that, and a lot of that is dealing with trauma. This lady is talking about all the stuff that she's been through at a very young age where she had to live without having her mama. And then not having access to pathways of recovery where you can go talk about it. In our households, we talk not to talk about this type of stuff. In the streets, we talk about certain things. But some of the people that are teaching these things, they've never been tested. Right?
Mm.
They'll teach you these things, and they've never really been tested. People teach you a lot of things, but you don't really know whether or not if you're going to execute it until some real pressure has been applied to you. That's what training is all about. And that's why when you look at a lot of things that we're dealing with and you listen to her story, when I'm hearing it, I'm looking at all of the trauma that's associated with it that was never addressed. And this is somebody that had to navigate through this on their own through lived experiences. And the sad part about it is that everybody don't come up out of it like that.
Facts.
Everybody don't get an opportunity to go tell their story and have it associated with something saying fed bound. A lot of people may hear that and the narrative will throw you off when you really go get to read it and really dig deep off into it. And this is something that's prevalent throughout our community. And so
Facts.
until we start talking about these things and how they are associated with trauma, right, we glorify it in a way that it ends up perpetuating the same cycle that is designed to destroy us. And it's not until we start having these type of conversations about these things and helping people understand their language so they can identify the behavior that we can then begin to try to change these things. So I'm happy that y'all are on this platform having this conversation about these type of things because the scripture says oftentimes our people perish because of lack of knowledge or because they're rejected. So continue to have a conversation, and I hope y'all tap into a lot of things that's associated with the trauma that we don't talk about in the streets or even in our own households.
Facts. I appreciate you adding on, brother.
No doubt, no doubt.
That was excellent. That was excellent. You know,
Thank
I
you.
might need to get that brother on one day right
Are
there.
we working it? I'm working them in there. I'm working them in
Okay,
there. You see
okay,
how past the phone? I'm working it in
okay.
there.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about right there. Shout out to that brother. Uh, with that being said, so how long did it take you to get back to walking?
It took me like a year to even like start back. Like my right side came back first. My right side came back first, but I used it so much that I damaged it again. So I went back to having my right side first. It came back, then I damaged it, and then I went back paralyzed, and then it came back, and then I got the shock test like 2 or 3 times, and then I started feeling my left started jumping, having spasms, stuff like that. So I end up moving to Iowa because mentally, um, I didn't know if somebody was gonna come back and try to finish. I didn't know was the feds coming. I just didn't know. I was living in a world of unknown and not being able to walk, run, anything. So I moved to Iowa. A good probably like 15 or 16 other guys end up moving down there with me. So I was able to walk around, work out. Um, that's like a whole nother fight, before going to jail, because like when you lose your ability to move and then now you trying to get the ability to move again, like under your arms, that muscle is constantly tearing and tearing and tearing to the fact that you just give up. Like you give up the fight. But I had the fight because it was like I strive too hard to be productive and allow somebody that's supposed to be a brother to me take it away when I think I'm being a friend. I didn't come to you and offer you anything. You came to me saying somebody was charging you too much and could
Mm-hmm.
I help you? And all along you really was trying to entrap me so I can tell on everybody else.
Mm.
because it takes two or more for a conspiracy. And he told what he wanted to tell, but they needed somebody else to back up what he had to say. And I don't know if he was gonna try to use the relationship that we once had to convert me to be like him, but that wasn't gonna work. That wasn't gonna work.
That's heavy right there.
Even with they deals that they offer, just the games that they even tried to play. First it started out, oh, you gonna get a life, you're gonna get a life. Okay, well I rather raise my child from jail than the graveyard. Why did you say that? Because I said it. You said what you
Hmm.
said. I said what I said. Then they want to offer you a deal like, oh, we'll make you disappear. We'll change your name. And I mean, me personally, I go everywhere. And I've been in the Bahamas and ran into some people that I know.
Hmm.
So what's the chances of you sending me to Florida, Texas? That can't save me and my family. So no.
So when you moved to Iowa, you got some guys out there you say that was from your neck of the woods, your neighborhood that was out there. Uh, when did what was the day that the people came to get you?
I got locked up like November 21st, 2008. I know it was right
Mm.
before Thanksgiving because I had just went shopping for my Thanksgiving dinner, and so quote unquote I was living in Storm Lake, Iowa, but I knew they was making a little move, so I had went to Rushmore, Minnesota, which is like 30 minutes away from Storm Lake, and they don't have no stores down there, so we had to go to South Dakota to go
Hmm.
shopping. So I had just went to South Dakota, um, got greens, chillings, everything, turkey, the whole works. About to make my first coconut and pineapple cake. I'm finna
Okay.
do the damn thing. Went to a party. This is why I don't go to parties no more. Because I've
Hmm.
never noticed it, but both times I went to jail, I just left a party. So I
Hmm.
went to a party. When I came back from the party, me and my baby daddy got into it. I fell. Anyway, I fell down over the stairs. And when I did that, I couldn't feel my legs. So I'm like, call an ambulance. And I'm not calling no ambulance. I'm calling motherfucking ambulance. He like, you gonna go to jail. I don't give a fuck. I'm ready to go to jail. I'd rather go to jail to get the fuck away from you. Talking all popping my shit. Called the ambulance, went to the hospital, and they busting that. It's somebody, you as a fugitive from justice. So that's how
Mm.
I end up getting caught.
That's crazy. Oh, so you was on the run when you left Chicago and went to Iowa.
No, 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 no. I went on a run when I went to Iowa. I was going to Iowa for therapy. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't walk. I couldn't do anything. To be honest with you, when I got shot, I really didn't think, what I'm saying, like the feds, the case wasn't even like on my mind no more because I can't walk. So
Right.
I'm paralyzed from the neck down. So I don't see them taking me to the feds like that. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
I really didn't think about the feds. But then once I started walking again, that's when I started seeing like unmarked cars and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, and they actually said it out their mouth. They said, we came to the hospital to see you. We was going to arrest you, but we decided against it because you was paralyzed. But then we came for you now.
Right. So when you learned how to walk, did you make a transition where you like, hey, I know the feds might be on me, they not on me, but I got a second chance at living, I'm walking
I
now,
have
or
not did anything like that, and that's why I say this.
hmm
2006 was a year that everything happened.
mm,
Everything happened in 2006. I got shot. And potentially federal indictment. Retired. Because I was paralyzed,
hmm
couldn't walk. What good am I to anybody if I can't even walk? I can't even wipe my own ass. I can't be nothing.
mm,
I can't do nothing. And
that's deep.
I can't use that strength to be on the phone and say, hey, go do this, go do this. Even though I was getting calls, oh yeah, do this. But you know, I'm a firm believer in the fact that if you're gonna do something, you're gonna do something. You shouldn't have to call me and ask me. You know.
Facts.
So
That's
yeah.
real. So okay, so when you get locked up, what's your mind state? Because now you locked up, you already did a bid, so much stuff that transpired in the in between time. You know, now you going back to jail. What's your mind
So
state?
when I first get locked up, I'm really like, man, it's finally over. You know, ain't no
Mm-hmm.
running, ain't no ducking, whatever it is, I'm finna see what it is. And so I was in Minnesota. I went to so I think I got locked up like Saturday night going into Sunday morning. So Sunday night they transferred me to South Dakota to some jail called Minnehaha. And
Mm.
that morning I went to court. So when I went to court, the judge asked me, was I waiving my rights to a hearing? I said no. He said, was I waiving my rights to identity? I said no. He said, so you are this person? I was like, yes. So he said, oh shit, they got somebody smarter than y'all. So he told the state they had 30 days to, you know, get me to Chicago or they was going to have to release me because they didn't have jurisdiction over me. I didn't have no
Mm.
charges. So I went back. My 30 days passed. It was going on like 35 days, some shit like that. I called the lawyer like, why am I still here? He was like, oh, give me another day or two and I'm going to motion in court and get you up out of there. They going to have to release you. But all they going to do is tell you is to report to Chicago on your own recognizance, which was what I was trying to do. Because that way, if I turn myself on my own recognizance 9 times out of 10, they'll let me come back out on my own recognizance. So I ended up going to court, and the judge was like, if you choose to stay here and fight your case carries 10 to life. I'm hell no, send me back to the shot, you know.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
the time, I didn't know the difference between federal, I know state law. No, the hell out of
Mm-hmm.
state law. I didn't know it was a different in federal law. I thought the laws were still the same. You know, I'm in my mind. I'm finna cop out for five, gonna get it out the way,
Mm-hmm.
you know, get out their way or whatever. So I end up going to Minnehaha. Then they came and got me, took me to Oklahoma Transfer Center. So I'm, you know, they got the fighting on the plane and shit on on our way. They got the fighting on the plane, and I'm like,
Mm.
oh shit, the feds had kidnapped me and took me to prison because now I'm in a prison with an ID number and I ain't even been to court. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? So it took me from November to February to finally make it to Chicago to go to court. So when I first go to court, I see now this is when I actually see my charges. So I see that I got a 3-count indictment and I'm charged by myself. Okay, cool. All right, I know what I'm dealing with. But when the evidence started coming, all these names started coming, I'm like, oh shit, this shit just got real. So one of the guys had sent a lawyer to come visit me. You know, they come to check, see if I'm hot, if I'm telling.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they doing their due diligence. But I didn't let that offend me. I took that upon myself to ask that lawyer, you know, hey, can I ask you a couple of questions, you know? And I, you know, that's when he broke it down to me like, man, you know, this is not a state case. This is a federal case. You can't just go in there and cop out for no 5 years. A cop out is like 5 to 40, and the judge can give you the low end, can give you the high end. Yo, you can get points from your background, is that now? Whoa, wait, what are
Mm.
you talking about? Points from my background. Like this double jeopardy. I'm finna get some more time for some shit I already did time for. He like, yes.
Mm.
I'm like, damn. So he told me, say, look, order this book called Busted by the Feds. So I was like, okay, cool. So I get the book. I'm reading it from the front. I'm like, I'm not never going home. This shit crazy, you know? So,
Mm-hmm.
but when you get so far in the book, it tells you to read from the back to the front. So when I read from the back, it gives you cases, other cases, example cases. So I write my little notes and I write my little notes. So then I'm going through my little stuff, write my little notes, and I start seeing the little loopholes, the gaps. You know, like if you saying you're recording me, you know what I'm saying? Why is it only I'm being recorded on certain conversations with this guy? Why not? Because all the other conversations gonna help me, but they only gonna
Mm-hmm.
put out what's not gonna help me. You know, and then
Mm.
it's like, okay, well, this person did this person did that. What do that have to do with me? I wasn't around when that happened. I have no associate with this person. I haven't done anything with this person. So why am I being asked, addressed, or even charged with something that somebody else is doing? So I told my lawyer, like, hey, I'm going to trial. He like, baby, don't nobody win in trial. I say, I'm not saying that I'm going to win, but one thing I learned about trial is that as long as I say I go to trial, I have a right to face my accuser. That way, he
Mm-hmm.
don't have to come in this courtroom and say I did all the things that they said that I done. And he was like, okay, cool. So we fought it on that. I was getting 6 months continuous, 8 months continuous. I got transferred from the MCC to Kenosha. I went from in a dorm of like 20 some people to being on a unit by myself. Like they was trying
Mm.
to do everything to like just break me down. But they didn't know, you know, about me doing time before, I can be alone. I like being alone. I actually do my time better being alone. I don't have to wait for the shower. I don't got to wait on the phone. I don't got to smell nobody farting and shitting all night. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to
Mm-hmm.
go through none of that. And people think like, cause you by yourself, you can't adapt. Get you a book, write. You know, write. I used to write. I used to draw. I used to do puzzles. I used to do everything to keep my mind elevated and let them know you're not gonna destroy me. I will outdo you every time. So they'll give me a 6 months continue, 8 months continue. I really didn't care. I was waiting on Obama to sign. When Obama made the change the ratios and the disparity of the cocaine from 1 to 18, at the beginning it was like the judge had the option to do it 1-to-1 ratio or do it 1 to 18, and Obama did it like that because he said he knew they weren't gonna give us the 1-to-1, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time I got my time, I ain't had number like 27 months left to do.
Mm. Okay, so uh you've been to the state joint before. This your first time in the Fed joint. Was it a big difference in you having to get adjusted, or was it more problematic, or was it the same smooth kind of way you had it in the state joint? You know, a couple fights here, or you good, or how did that go for you in the Feds?
Well, like in the feds, so like, you know, in the state it's ran, you know, everybody with their gangs. But
Mm-hmm.
when you're in the feds, it's more like Midwest, you know, the surrounding things or whatever. So, I had a roommate. So let's go back. When I'm in the feds, well, the whole time I'm in the feds, only time I had a roommate if they asked me could that person move in, or I requested them to move in. If I didn't request you, or if I didn't say it was okay, you couldn't come in the room with me. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't
Mm-hmm.
have no roommates. So uh I had requested this one girl to come in the room with me because I thought she was cool, whatever. But she really came in the room to talk an event to her little guy, which was one of my guys from the village.
Mm.
And I had started complaining to him, you know, like, hey, you need to talk to a girl. She need to clean up. She need to make her bed up. Like, you know, this ain't cool or whatever. And I guess however he said it, he must have said it negative, or I don't know. I don't care. But anyway, she started telling people she was gonna whoop my ass when we get to Danbury. And I'm like, bitch, we roommates. Why do we have to wait till we get on the plane, get to another
Mm-hmm.
prison, and all that? So when we got to Danbury, she was like telling everybody she was gonna whoop my ass. and she'll come like in the area where I'm at, and she'll say little shit like to me and my friend, the one that's on all the pictures with me. She like, yeah, I'll beat both of y'all ass, and I'll be sitting there laughing, but my friend would be mad, and she'd be like, why is you laughing? And I was like, man, if I felt threatened by this lady at any time, I would have been whooped her ass. Like, she just doing a whole lot of talking. So that was like the only little incident that I had with that, and she never did anything. But I really spent my time like hanging with three different individuals. One was Sadia, the female that's from Trap Queens. She lived next door to me. Me and her was real close.
Mm-hmm.
I crochet, she crochet. She didn't go to the child hall. I didn't go to the child hall. So we was living next door. When the whole unit be going to the child hall, me and her both be at the microwave cooking our food. Me and her talk, she was younger than me, but she had a whole lot of experience. Like, she was writing her book, I was writing mine. She'll let me read her book, I let her read mine. She'll be crocheting her daughter something, I crochet my son something. Like, she showed me how to do house shoes, footballs, and robes. Like, I just knew how to do blankets and stuff like that, like basic stuff. She showed me how to do other stuff. We talked about getting together, having some events from Philly, because she from Philly, to hear. She do a lot of stuff with Lil Kim. She be calling me in on the do. Then there was this other lady, Bashi, she from the Robert Taylors. I think I told you about that. Her, and then this lady named Michelle West. And like I say, like all three of them, they was Muslims, and they was on their deen. So I'm not Muslim, but it was like I was on my deen. I just wasn't garbed up. So I walked and talked with them, learned things from them, spent time with them. I still communicate with them right now. I kind of like fell out of tune with Michelle because Michelle was still there. But Trump just released her. He found just released her, even though that lady heart so pure that, like, when I was there, she gave away her stuff like 3 or 4 times. Like, I'm going home. Like, she kept the faith. So
That's heavy right there. So those three women, they was rocking with you while you was locked up. Um, I mean, that's an awesome story, but what did you get into writing books? I mean, was you just like one day you just
so
woke up and say, I'm gonna write a book, or did somebody inspire you, or how did that go?
now, so I on my state bit. By me, being who I am, and by me running the jails, I wrote every prison. Every prison, well, no matter where you was at, I communicated with you. And if my letters end up, like, it didn't matter if it was GD, it don't matter if it was Viceroy, it don't matter if it was Stone. Like, I could drop so many names of people that I wrote over the years. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I always wrote letters. Like, anytime the guard come in with the mail bag, the whole mail bag would be mine. Like, this whole bag is yours. That's just how much mail I used to get. And you would think like I had celebrity status back then because, like, literally in one day, I might get up to 50 letters in one day.
Wow.
And when I'm sending my mail out, I'm sending 50 and 75 letters back out. So that, so I wrote a lot. I had, older guys, the OGs, they was my literature teachers through mail. They taught me the literature through mail. I responded through mail. Life experience, shout out to my boy Monk. He used to give me life scenarios. If this happened, what would you do? You know what I'm saying? It got me writing 15 to 20 pages of what I might do if this happened. But it played a good part in my life when I got older because it's like it made me be able to think in all situations, no matter who was in a room, what was in a room. I know how to sit back and I know how to listen, and then I know how to govern what I have to govern. You
Now,
know.
no, that's awesome. But I caught you saying, and not to go back because I want to get into this book, but uh, I heard you say that you was over the joint. How did you become over the joint? This is when you had the queen title when people started calling you queen, right?
Mm.
So if this your first time in the feds, you never been to the feds before, you only been in the state, you come inside the fed joint, and now you running the joint. Then what was that right when you walked in? You started running the joint, or you had to politic with some people, or did some people pick you and say,
No,
"Look, we all from the Midwest"? And
when I was running the joint, I was running the state joint. When I was running the state joint, I went. So when we was in the feds, like I can't even just say like everybody knew who I was. They knew what my status was, and they respect me for my status. But I can't say like, oh, I ran the joint because one, it wasn't a breed down there with me. Period. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? That's one. Now, like the people that's from Chicago, we stuck together. I looked out for them. They looked out for me. You know what I'm saying? Because it was many days, like when the weather was fucked up. Because like Connecticut is like, because I was in Connecticut during my time. In Connecticut, like New York, they get a lot of snow, a lot of cold. So there was a lot of times I barely could even walk back to the unit. Because remind you, I had just started back walking. You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm,
When I go to the feds. So now I can't really like, bounce out like, oh, I'm this, I'm running this. I can't do that. I got enough
mm-hmm,
strength to defend myself. I definitely gonna do that. But I'm not in a position to say I'm running anything because if it ever backfires to the fact like somebody go against something that I say, I can't give you the proper checking that I need to give you because with my conditions. You know what I'm
mm,
saying? But
mm-hmm.
but like, if one of my girls like get locked up or whatever, I'm going to administration. Like I'm running this motherfucker. Hey, she been in here too long. Go take care of that. She should be out by now. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna be that point person, and that
Okay,
so I can say it like that, but not just like I ran it. Nah.
got you. Hey, understandable. That's even more clarity. So when you came up with the idea for making a radio book, you know, like I said, where did the inspiration come from? Because you never been an author before, you never wrote a book. Like where did it come from? Was it a dream? Was it, how did that come
Nah,
about?
it's just more like the work that I'm doing now and the work that I'm trying to do. So it's like I have my own non for profit.
Okay.
The ultimate truth, and it's a reentry for females that's coming home. But I'm trying to build an app, a mobile app, well, a reentry app for females, where it's nationwide. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's an app that gives you automatic access to jobs, housing, to rent a car, just basic forms. If you need a form to get your ID, if you don't know how to fill out the form, it's a sample form to show you how to do it step by step and try to make it nationwide. And I feel like, everybody in today's time is telling a story through music. I can't
Mm-hmm.
sing, I can't rap. And if I want to get my story out there in order to do the other things that I want to do, I felt like I had to put it in a book.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when I was writing a book, because I had been wrote my books when I was locked up, like I got an Ultimate Truth 1, 2, and 3. And it's like 1 is my life before I caught my case. 2 is when I was incarcerated. 3
Mm-hmm.
is when I come home. And then that's when Fedbound supposed to come. I go to the feds. But I kind of like said, nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to start off with Fedbound. And I'm giving you game in the book. I'm not glorifying what I done and what I went through. I'm giving you game in the book to say, like, if I get this book inside the prison, or if I get a young shorty to read this book, they're gonna learn something from this book. It's gonna make them think. It's gonna make them research. It's gonna make them ask questions. And when they start asking questions, then it's gonna lead them to the other things that I'm trying to do, far as expungements, as far as know your rights training, what you can do or what you can't do, what cases can be expunged, what cases can be sealed, how to build your credit. Like, we got to do the things that we wasn't taught. Like, the generation before me didn't teach me this. I had to
Mm-hmm.
learn this on my own. So I done taught you how to do this and taught you how to do that. Now allow me to teach you how to do something that's positive and productive. Something that's gonna last you for a lifetime and gonna get you somewhere in life.
That's real. So what are some of the injustices that you seen while you was locked up? Some of the things that, the women was going through in there, that they probably can't speak out about because they're not able to come on a platform like this and talk about it. What's some of the things that you think that your sisters who locked up in there will want you to, say to the public and let us know about what's going on in there?
One, they would want me to say that more families need to get involved with what's going on with these laws, because it's like they can fight so far, but they need that help. They need somebody to call these senators, these aldermen, and let them know that they consensuous, and let them know we're trying to do certain things. Because as long as they, like, okay, just like for instance, they just passed a law that say, oh, your records will be expunged automatically. Everybody,
Mm-hmm.
whoop-de-doo, ooh, we got that. First of all, a lot of people that was incarcerated with me, you don't qualify, because it's for like petty cases. And for real, in today's time, for a petty case, if you really want it off your record, you can go motion in court and get it off your record the same day. So that them passing that law did not help us at all. Um, so what I would say to the public is, like, find a way to be more in tune with your family members. Listen to them and see what's going on, because everybody not guilty for the things that they locked up for. A lot of them not innocent either, but they have changed their life. They have found the means to say, okay, I fucked up. That wasn't supposed to happen like that. Some people, really didn't do the things. They just was hanging with their boyfriend. They just was riding in the car. They didn't know what was going on, and it's like our babies is suffering because there's no connection from the grandparents to the parents. The parents is the ones that's locked up, and the grandparents are
Mm-hmm.
stuck taking care of the kids. So I just think take a time and ask questions. Listen. Sometimes it's not as bad, and sometimes it might not be as good, but I think something can happen. Something different can happen.
That's real. And speaking of that, uh, when you was locked up, did you already have kids already? Was you having kids in
So
between time? Or?
the first time I went to jail, I ain't had no kids. I had my baby 3 years after I came home off my first bed, and then I had my second baby 2 years after I came home.
Okay, so the first one, did it have an effect on them? Did they ever express how it made them
When I went
feel?
to the feds, yeah. So he was 3 when I got shot,
Mm.
and that affected him because I dropped him off walking, and the next day when he seen me, I was paralyzed from the neck down. When I finally did go home, like, he was really the only person really taking care of me. Like
Mm-hmm.
he he felt like it was his duty to bring me my medication, bring me my insurance. If I try to get up to go to the bathroom, come on, mommy, I'm gonna help you. And he knew he couldn't help me, but he
Mm-hmm.
tried. And then had a little dog, Scoop. He's like, sit there and watch my mama. And Scoop would just sit there and watch me, you know. And then um, he was 5 when I went to the feds. And stop,
Mm.
give me a few minutes. So when I knew they was, you know, closing in, I had drove up here to Chicago, and I had talked to my dad, and I was telling my dad, you know, what was going on. So my dad was like, "Hey, bring him up here. I got him. Go and deal what you got to deal with, cause ain't no telling. You know,
Mm.
I didn't raise you that way. You know, you want to be out here doing that. Deal with your consequences. Come on, get back out here and do what you got to do. I got him." And so I sent him to Chicago. Probably like 2 weeks before I went in, and every day he called, "You not in jail, so why I had to leave?" You know.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then I finally went, and he seen what it was. I made sure he was straight. A lot of people stood up, made sure he was straight. I didn't think it affected him until I came home, and
Mm.
like the whole time I was gone, he was on the honor roll. He was on the drum scene, the drum line. He was on the basketball team. Had perfect attendance, and it was like he just went to like F's, D's, and I
Mm.
didn't understand. Yeah, I didn't understand. Like it was like he was doing better when I was gone, and now that I came home, you know, you fucking up. Like what's going on? And it was just a whole 360 for a while, you know, for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like he caught a pistol case at 14, um, beat that case, you know, just by me, you know, telling him, let me see the body camera, let me see the police report, you know, me knowing the law, you know. So he beat that one. Then he turned around, caught another pistol case. This time he had to go stay at a group home for like 3 weeks. I was able to go visit him, you know, stuff like that, but it's different, you know, it's
Right.
different. It's like going to jail all over again, you know, and it's like the what you feel is more like you're going to jail again, but this time you gotta stay. You know what
Mm.
I'm saying? It ain't no getting
Mm-hmm.
out because you don't know what's gonna happen to your child. You think about all the things that you seen in there, and you wonder, is your child strong enough to deal with it? You know,
Mm.
is he gonna be okay in there? You know, just you try to
That's
tell
right.
him, mind your business, don't talk to nobody, but it's like you really can't tell nobody to be a man in jail if you don't know. You know, you don't
Mm-hmm.
know. So that was like one of the hardest things for me. He ended up beating it because the police got up there and lied. Thank God he lied. And after that, he been cool. You know, he
That's
got
good.
a Ford card, concealed to carry. He just did a 360. He did a
That's
360.
excellent.
So,
Yeah, that's good. He on the right path, and he doing good, and he elevating, and he being positive and productive. Shout out to him. You know, with that being said, eh, back to your book. What are some of the key things that you wanted people to get out of your book? You know, like
um,
when they read your book, you know, when they buy your book, they read it from the beginning to the end. What are the key things you want them to get out of it?
one, survival. No matter how you think the stakes is, no matter what you think is against you, if you believe in something, stick to what you believe in, because it could be a tricky game. You know, it could be a tricky game. Um, if you really ain't got the ability to hold your own, get out the way. Get out the way, because the feds don't play fair. They don't play fair at
Mm-hmm.
all. They don't play fair at all. Another thing, trauma, rehab. I suffer from certain things. I still suffer from PTSD. I still have triggers. Loud noise, I still jump. So when you lose somebody, whether you witness it or not, if they was somebody that was in your life every day, all the time, you need counseling, because people think grieving is something you could just say, okay, I'm over with. The front row with, I'm over it. No, it comes when you least expect it, and you can have a breakdown and don't even know you having a breakdown. So trauma would be another one. I said survival trauma. I don't know, cause I put a little few key things in there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Loyalty is something big. It's something big. Learn the difference between it, because like loyalty can be you could be so loyal to a person that it can make you the biggest person, downest person ever. But it could take one person that can do something that can damn near like tarnish your name. And the hardest thing about a Fed case is proving a lie is a lie. That's the hardest part of the fighting case. Because if somebody lying on you and you trying to prove the truth, you can't prove the truth without telling on yourself. So the hardest part is proving a lie is a lie.
That's heavy right there. That's definitely heavy, at the end of the day. With that being said, I do want to conclude this interview, what I'm saying, because this has been an awesome interview, but it's so many different things still that I still want to ask, and maybe we'll get you on another time, and to finish up, some more of these questions, because we still didn't get into, uh, who made you a queen? Who gave you the title queen? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I tell you that. I tell you that. I
Okay.
answer that. You want me to answer that
Yeah,
now?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead
Oh,
now.
I tell you, the old man himself. I was blessed by the old man himself.
Mm, that's heavy right there. That's heavy. And so another thing, why I got you, you were speaking about being a victim of a gunshot victim. How do you feel about seeing the young sisters in our communities getting shot like this? There's so many black young girls getting shot and killed. Like what message could you get to the females who out there living a lifestyle, in the streets, and that's not conducive, for themselves in the community at the end of the day? What can you tell them? Because so many sisters out here getting killed, literally. I've just seen, a sister get killed a couple of days ago, broad daylight. So, and she had a baby, so it's mothers being killed. It's not
Right.
just, women who just by themselves or who just taking care of themselves. It's mothers, so uh, if you could elaborate on that, like, what could you speak on about that?
First, I want to say, I'm sending my prayers out to all the mothers that lost their life. I'm sending my condolences to them, their kids, their family, and I also want to send my prayers for the shooters.
Mm,
And I say that because you really just gave your life away. Whether you go to jail or not for it, you that okay, did it come back?
yeah,
Okay.
we good.
You have to live with that for the rest of your life. And not only do you have to live with for the rest of your life, that baby will grow up every day. Somebody's gonna bring up what happened to that baby mama. That baby gotta live with that
Mm.
for the rest of that. That baby don't even understand what's going on. But about the time she get 5, 6, 7, people gonna tell her, you know what I'm saying? There's gonna be a constant reminder, a constant reminder. That baby gotta live with that for the rest of her life.
That's heavy.
I don't know what a person can do that bad to make someone kill like that. That was an overkill. You even stopped and kept on doing it. That's an overkill. The rules used to be no women, no kids. Well, I know the rules been changed because I'm a woman that almost died. So I know
Mm.
that, you know, but at the same time, social media wasn't no big thing back then. You know, you get into it with somebody, you walk through the projects, you had verbs. If you had words on 49, by the time you get to 51st, you don't forget the words because you gonna bypass that person, and you ain't no telling when you gonna see that person again. You know, you can avoid it. The difference with social media, you can put stuff up here, and you can think you deleted it, you can think you took it down, but somebody already screenshot it and sent it. So you got to be mindful of the things that you say out your mouth because nowadays words are killing quicker than bullets.
Mm. That's heavy. That's
For,
heavy.
as far as the young females, like the podcast and stuff, I respect y'all hustle. I respect it. But trying to like link up and fight, what are y'all fighting for? What are y'all gonna get out of fighting? What are you gonna prove? It's gonna make your views go up a little bit more. But then when you get the agreement to say you're gonna fight somebody and you whoop their ass and people taunt them on the social media and mentally they don't accept that ass whooping and come back and kill you and your whole family